When I say different methods of breeding, I'm not necessarily saying live cover versus artificial insemination. Really what I'm talking about is purebred breeding versus crossbreeding and that sort of thing. So really our various breeding systems exist because we have different types of livestock operations. The type of breeding system that you're going to employ really depends on the size of your herd, the amount of money you have, and the overall goals of the producer. Some farms will actually use more than one type of mating system. Typically speaking, cattle will use all types of breeding systems, while swine and poultry really tend to utilize crossbreeding. And they really end up developing their own industry hybrids. So straight breeding. So straight breeding is basically purebred breeding. It's mating animals of the same breed. And there's really three different types. There's purebred breeding, there's inbreeding, and there's grading up. So purebred breeding is where you're mating a registered purebred male and a registered purebred female of the same breed. Okay, and that means that your offspring are eligible for registry with a purebred association. So an example of this would be like an Angus crossed with an Angus. Inbreeding is exactly what it sounds like. This is where you're mating closely related animals. Okay, so this increases the genetic purity of the stock that you're producing, but it's not used as often by the typical producer. Main reason being is you end up getting a lot of genetic problems with this. There's two types of inbreeding. There's close breeding and there's line breeding. So close breeding, these are mating animals that are very closely related. Okay, so examples of this would be like son crossed with mother, brother crossed with sister, that sort of thing. Whereas line breeding, this is mating animals more distantly related, and you're basically breeding back to the same original line of genetics. Okay, so an example of this would be like a cousin bred with a cousin. Grading up is where you mate purebred males or sires to grade, or really grade is just another word for unregistered, or crossbred females, okay, which are the dams. And this helps to improve your herd. So an example of this would be a Yorkshire boar crossed with a Yorkshire Hampshire sow. So crossbreeding is exactly what it sounds like. It's mating a male and a female of different breeds, and usually this results in improved traits of the offspring. This is what we like to call hybrid vigor. So a lot of times what happens when you crossbreed is you end up getting the best of both worlds. So crossbreeding includes a couple different things. Terminal sire, so this is where replacement heifers are bred to a sire, and then all of their offspring are sold. None of the offspring are kept for breeding stock. And then rotational. So rotational uses 2, 3, or 4 breeds to rotate between sires and females. Rotational requires much more intensive management because you're working with several different breeds as opposed to 1 or 2. So a crossbreeding example would be an Angus crossed with a Charolais. Marketing will be our final video for this lesson.